The Archdiocese of Chicago is a vibrant and diverse faith community. We celebrate our faith through worship, evangelization, and reaching out to the needy. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning, welcome to Catholic Chicago. I'm Father Greg Sackowitz, rector of Holy Cathedral here in Chicago. He's my left great friend, Mark Teresi, who wears so many hats at the cathedral in terms of work with the 175th anniversary, which is done, 150th, which we're in the middle of right now as a cathedral. And Mark wears many hats. We go back over 50 years as friends. And good morning, Mark. How are you?
Very good, very good.
So what's happening?
A lot of wonderful things at the Holy Name Cathedral. Don't forget Lent on Wednesday evenings. We have every Wednesday during Lent we have a wonderful mission. One of our priests will lead that.
And last night I had the first mission evening. Next Wednesday, which will be March 4th, 5:15 Mass, then followed by the mission begins at 6 o'clock, all done by about 7 o'clock with Father Lou Camelli. We have a great program lined up here this morning in studio. Maryville is a child care organization rooted in Catholic social teaching and dedicated to the preservation of the dignity of children at every age. Our mission is to protect children and strengthen families while helping them reach their fullest potential by empowering their intellectual, spiritual, moral, and emotional growth. Joining us today on Catholic Chicago is the Executive Director of Maryville, Sister Catherine Ryan. Sister Kathy, welcome to the program.
Welcome. Thank you, Father Greg.
And before we began the program, I asked you how many years have you been the Executive Director? And in my mind, I thought 10. Tell us how many.
22 years.
22 years.
What
and
a
when
blessing.
You started, you thought it might be like a 2-year commitment.
That's right. When I was first invited to come to Maryville as Executive Director, I was asked to be a transition leader and come for 2 years, and I'm still there because it's a wonderful ministry.
Now, how did your order respond to that invitation?
Well, my religious community, School Sisters of St. Francis, I, of course, discerned with them with the invitation, and they were, of course, supportive of the mission of Maryville Academy.
Mm-hmm.
I do have another responsibility with my religious community as treasurer for our international congregation. So they asked, how long is this going to be? Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, just 2 years. And they
in
said,
church terms,
fine.
2 years.
And yet, I didn't realize that you were born and raised at OLPH in Glenview.
Well, actually, I was raised at OLPH in Glenview. I was actually born in Iowa, and my parents came over across the Mississippi, and I grew up in Glenview at a wonderful parish, Our Lady of Perpetual Help.
At OLPH, it's amazing, and for some reason I thought you were born and raised out of state, and then came here much later on. And isn't it funny in our lives, that great line from that Lennon song, life is what happened while I was making other plans.
That's exactly true.
I bet you never dreamed, as you look back on life, you'd be at Maryville Academy for 22 years and counting.
True. That's so true.
What brought your parents here?
My dad's job.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
So
Now, as you look at Maryville the last 22 years, what are some highlights for you as you look at the ministry?
Well, I'd have to say, Mark, Maryville has a wonderful ministry. If I could just answer your question by touching on one piece of history, sure. Maryville Academy was actually begun by the Archdiocese of Chicago in 1883. Well, actually 1882, but we date from 83. Archbishop Patrick Feehan came to Chicago, saw that even though it was years after the Chicago fire, there were still children in the streets, children whose parents had died in the fire, lost their homes, the parents became ill in the epidemics that followed. And so Archbishop Patrick Feehan gathered business persons and other people of faith, bought some property in the country, which is now Des Plaines, and set up Maryville Academy as an orphanage. So now when you ask me what have been some highlights, we've evolved as all of child welfare has. Orphanage is no longer the model of care that we offer, and so Maryville, before I even came, was already moving to smaller groups for children in residential care. And I think a highlight in my lifetime at Maryville is our staff and our board taking us the next step, which is developing programs that work with children in the homes.
Oh.
So we do still have residential care for some children who can't live safely at home. But we also have some, what we think are innovative programs working with families who are having difficulty, but if we can just work with them with the child in the home, they never have to be
So
separated.
you're saying that when the Chicago fire happened in 1871, the Archbishop saw a need 10, 12 years later of children who were still orphans dating back to the fire in 1871?
Yes,
They'd
ma'am,
grown
Father
up. Amazing. Also, you know what, Mark, look at Sister Kathy. You've been at Maryville for 22 years. Your enthusiasm and energy is phenomenal. It's, I get the impression you really love what you do and feel blessed by God.
Absolutely, Father Greg. You know, our children are so precious. Our families, they really care. They're in tough times, but they really care. And our staff are so dedicated that it's a privilege for me to be with them.
I always say people respond when they hear stories about caring for kids. Like I was at Mercy for 7 years, and when we told a story, people connected. Any stories come to mind in terms of the young people that you've worked with or families?
So many. Let me say, we had a home for young girls, teenage girls, with cognitive delay, developmental delay. And this is always strengthens my faith, I have to say, Mark. So one of the girls in the home had just suffered a very painful experience. She'd had the traumatic experience before she came to us, but it was being disclosed and she was beginning to deal with it, and she was crying. And so this other young lady who was in the home, who couldn't verbalize very well, her cognitive delay was very severe. And her family had mistreated her, so she couldn't be at home. So she's in the home, she sees this other girl in such pain. And so this girl with cognitive delay, so many people would say she doesn't really have much to offer society. Sadly, some people think that.
Yeah.
She goes out to the garden, picks a flower, brings it in and gives it to the girl who's crying. Now, the rest of us are trying to find words to make her feel better. This young lady, with her heart, came and spoke with the gift of that flower.
Beautiful.
And I think that kind of heart lesson is what we see with our children all the time.
That's an amazing story. You were trying to talk to this young lady who's crying. She goes, picks a flower, no words, hands her the flower, and made the difference.
Exactly.
That's homily material.
It sure, and he'll steal it.
Sister Kathy, I'll give you credit. I'll give you credit.
We're the community of faith. You can use it. It's true.
It's beautiful.
I have been blessed, and I'm sure you have, with so many experiences with children and families that have called my faith into question. Not because I don't have faith, but because I don't think I was near plumbing the depths of what Jesus was telling us. And these people, seemingly on the margins of society, live that lesson that I'm still trying to learn.
Interesting you say that, because as a priest now almost 47 years, I'm amazed in my whole 47 years of ministry with the gift of priesthood, and thank God, is I'm humbled by sometimes the depth of the faith of people that I feel like a beginner, or I can't, I'm nowhere near where they are. They're looking for me to be a man of faith. I look to them as men or women of faith. What they've gone through sometimes, their trust in the Lord, their reverence for the Eucharist, their holiness. It's a two-way street.
It is.
It's a two-way street.
And Pope Leo has said, if somebody's hungry, they're our brother and sister. How do we care for them? They may be hungry, like Mother Teresa said, for a crust of bread, but they may be hungry for that human connect, which that young girl really understood. And she was in relationship with Jesus. Maybe, like you said, almost in a challenging way to us to say, how pure is our relationship?
Exactly.
You know? Sister Kathy, let me ask you this. That what is maybe one of the greatest things, a myth you try to dispel what, let's say, Maryville is not? I'm sure when people think of, like, many people think of priests living in a rectory. What do you guys do there? Just sit and pray all day? And it's a home with other priests, so they don't understand. So even with Maryville Academy, I'm sure that you're asked frequently maybe the same question over and over again. You're saying, no, Maryville is not that.
Maryville is not an orphanage. That's going way back, but some people still have that image. And for some reason, I occasionally encounter persons who think we take children who are bad children. And I certainly want to put that, Father Flanagan would say there's no such thing as a bad boy. And that doesn't mean that our dear children don't repeat some of the mistakes we adults made when we were children.
Exactly.
But I want people to understand that these are children. All children are our children. And we need to take responsibility for giving them the opportunities to become their best selves. And a lot of our children don't have those opportunities. So actually one area that we've gone into much more strongly is early childhood. And the reason we do that, with the children in the home, if at all possible. But the reason we do that is the science now tells us the first 1,000 days of a child's life are going to be foundational for the rest of their
The
lives.
first 3 months?
First 1,000 days, yes. So
No, 1,000 days, that's 3 years.
Yes,
Take it back.
yes.
Do my math. I haven't had enough coffee.
That's it. And so what we're trying to do
I'm a
is
former math teacher.
Exactly.
we're always learning, right? So what we're trying to do is work with parents during that time. Anyone who's raised children knows it's not easy. So yes, it's wonderful to hold the baby, and then I can give the baby back to the parent, and I'm not up during the night. So parents truly sacrifice to care for their children, and they need support. And we try to help the parents to understand that in those first 1,000 days, we really need to make sure the child is safe, physically safe. That's why we have our crisis nursery, because parents can come to the crisis nursery if they need a bit of a respite while they're dealing with a family emergency. We'll care for their children up to age 6 for 3 days and nights, no charge, so that they can attend to what they have to attend to. But they come back to their child. They're raising their child. We're not replacing them. And they can concentrate on making sure their child has that love, security, stimulation, so that the child can then develop. Children who don't experience that in the first 1,000 days, as they go on with their life, I'm not going to say it can't be repaired, but there's a chasm there that needs to be addressed.
Maybe for the rest of their lives.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's like a hole, there's something missing.
Right.
Now, if I'm a parent dealing with a situation, a difficult situation, how do people find Maryville?
Well, sometimes word of mouth. Sometimes they go on the website and take a look at that. We work with a lot of police departments, hospitals, social service agencies, and so they'll often refer a parent to us for some difficulties. Let us say, for example, we have a very close relationship with a number of the police officers that deal with domestic violence. So we don't house the mom. There are shelters, but sometimes the mom needs to have time to deal with all those issues related to domestic violence. And she has this little child, or couple little children. She wants to make sure they're safe while she's going to court, getting some therapy, finding a new place to live, looking for a job. And that's where we come in with our crisis nursery.
So your religious commitment, the church's presence from 150 years ago, why should this be a priority for us as a church?
Well, clearly our gospel message, as you know, Mark, is the value of human life, the dignity of each human being. And so we, at Maryville, we're blessed to have been given an apostolate by the Archdiocese of Chicago to particularly focus on protecting children. And I use that word protection not just for physical safety, we do that in a number of ways, but also with this development of the children so that they're going to have the skills and the confidence and the emotional ability to go forward in a positive life. They're our leaders of tomorrow.
And I look at you, Sister Kathy, You've been in Maryville now for 22 years.
Right.
How has Maryville touched your life?
Well, the children clearly. They, as I told you in that story, and I have constant reminders when I see them of their goodness, their dreams, you know, whether they call them dreams or not, aspirations, and seeing what they have to struggle with. I was so blessed with wonderful parents. My parents, my sister, I had such a gift of a family life, which of course I took for granted until I became older.
Sure.
You know?
Exactly.
And I want for our children to have the same kind of love in whatever fits their culture. But a lot of them, their families are facing such economic struggles, or they live in communities in which there's a lot of violence. I mean, every day is a struggle just to keep alive. Or there are other kinds of challenges that they're facing, and we want to help walk with them.
But then you're in a situation every day dealing with families, dealing with children who come from horrible backgrounds. There are days in which you probably just want to sit and cry.
Well,
I mean, off in your room and say that, because I was also blessed with a great family, loving family, and you take it for granted. You just take it for granted, and yet you're seeing situations where children are coming from some horrible situations you wouldn't wish on anybody, and you're dealing with this day in and day out. You're trying to offer hope, the light of the gospel, the presence of the Lord. Now, I'm sure you've had many, many success stories where children who were once little have now grown up, moved on with their lives, and some come back and say thank you.
That's true. And it's always heartening. But I want to say, Father Greg, I have moments when I'm thinking, what more can we do, or why is this so unfair in our society? But it's really our staff who deliver this gospel message to the children through their lives. And I'm honored to be walking alongside our staff, but it's really our staff who do this. We have about 500 staff at Maryville, and they carry this message every day or night, depending on their shift.
And you have donors who are extremely invested in the mission, and you have an event coming up. Can you want to talk a little bit about that, where people can...
April 14th, Tuesday.
Yep.
Tell us about it, Sister Kathy.
Well, we're really excited. This is our Night of Hope. We're, when you do the math, we're 142 years old this year. So at 100...
that's my straight math.
So at 140, we started this event called Night of Hope, in which we want to honor persons who have really made a difference in the lives of children and families. And so this year, we are greatly honored to be having as our guest, and the person we want to honor, Cardinal Supic.
Beautiful.
For all he's done for children, families, and all all of our society.
I heard Greg lobbied for the award, but...
The committee voted me down. I'm not talking to them. And again, now, if people would like to be involved or buy a table or buy tickets, how do they do so?
They can come right on our website. We have all the information
and your
there.
website is?
MaryvilleAcademy.org.
So very simply, MaryvilleAcademy.org.
All one word, Maryville
Is there
Academy.
a phone number they can call, or just go right to the website?
Website's probably better.
MaryvilleAcademy.org. And again, it's on Tuesday evening, April 14th. Doors open at 5:30 in the evening. And it's going to be held over at the Sky on 9.
In Rosemont.
6600 West Manheim Road in Rosemont. 5:30 until 8:30, honoring Cardinal Blaise Supic.
And part of
You've got it all down, Father Greg. Thank you.
And part of it in ministry, you can't do the ministry without the money.
Yeah,
That's true.
And that's key. So maybe...
What's that one story sometimes you share?
Pardon me?
Isn't there a story sometimes you share regarding money? It was...
Tell the John Connolly story. That's the one that I love. He said if you...
Oh, you mean by...
Yeah.
By asking for money?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. John Connolly, who Mark and I knew so very well, John and his wife, Agnes, were very active at St. Mary of the Woods. John would always say to me, Greg, if you don't ask for money, it's impossible to get. If you ask for money, it's still difficult to get. And so true.
And I remember there is a story, Teresa of Avila, and she's with a young nun, and she built convents and stuff, and she was going to ask for money, and the young nun says to her after she asked, says, Sister, it's so untoward asking for money. And Teresa of Avila said, sister, it's like manure. Yeah, it stinks. You spread it out and things grow.
And so on that note, we need to bring the program to a close. So I want to thank, in a very special way, Sister Kathy Ryan,
Wonderful.
Executive Director of Maryville Academy and Displays for 22 years now. And again, as I said in the program, your energy level, your faith, your enthusiasm
It's inspiring.
is inspiring. It's contagious. And I met you when you first came 22 years ago, and you haven't changed. In terms of your joy for the Lord, your love for the children, and it's about the children.
It's all about the children.
Children
yes.
and their families. So thank you for joining us, and I will be there on April 14th. For the wonderful evening for the Night of Hope. Special thanks also to Mark Teresi,
Oh, it was great.
co-host and dear
He's
friend.
going to lobby for the 2027 award.
Thank you, Father
Folks,
Greg.
vote
Thank
often.
you, Mark.
Oh, you're
Vote
welcome.
often, folks. Also, a special thanks to our producer directors. We'd have Michael May, Clinton Cantrell. To all our listeners, thank you for joining us. God bless you. Continued Advent, no, not Advent, it's Lenten season. I had enough coffee this morning. Continued blessings during this Lenten season. I always say this.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
On that note, God bless all of you.